Of the 600,000 children infected with AIDS during the year 2000, 550,000 of them were African. 90% of the world's orphans live in sub-Saharan Africa. 40% of African children work an average of 9 hours a day, 7 days a week. Many of them support themselves by prostitution or are subjected to various sorts of slavery.
One morning, my father told me to follow my uncle to the other side of town. My mother wasn't there at the time. I followed him, but I didn't know that I wouldn't be able to go back. That's how I came to Nigeria. I was with a family of strangers. I cleaned and worked all day, but my master was never happy. He hit me and wanted to touch me all the time. That's why I ran away from there.
In Africa, you can buy a child for $14. Their destination may be Europe, the Gulf states, or another African country. According to UNICEF, 200,000 children are sold each year in West Africa. The methods and destinations vary. One of them is Vidomegon. Vidomegon is a traditional practice along the coast of West Africa. It involves family without the means to care for their children, lending them to another family with means, with the idea that the children will live, train, and work with this family. By means of this system, many young people receive the training that they would not otherwise have obtained. However, in recent years, Vidomegon has become a cover-up for the trafficking of child slaves. The figure of an intermediary has appeared. He comes to the family's home, offering to take the boy or girl to another family to work and study, with the promise that they will soon begin to send money. The children disappear and are in reality sent to other nearby countries, where they are forced to work and to prostitute themselves. On occasion, they are killed and their organs sold for profit.
These are children who have been severely beaten, the girls sexually abused, and who during their entire time with the exploiters have no way to defend themselves. These are in fact subhuman conditions, which may be equated to the slavery experienced by adults, but which today is much more serious because the adult slaves can, or could, defend themselves.
Sinatou is 12 years old and has just been brought into the Cotonou police station after having been picked up while begging on the streets of the city. The first step is to interrogate her.
These children are picked up in the cities by the Brigade for the Protection of Minors, and the child is brought to this agency. As regards the children's mental state, they're frightened, among other reasons because they don't know the people they're talking to. They need to be provided with all of the necessary care to make them feel better, and with a solution to their problems. For the most part, they come from a relatively poor background. So I ascribe some of the blame to poverty as a reason why these things are happening.
The children found by the police are transferred to the Terre des Hommes Oasis Center. This Swiss NGO works with local authorities in rescuing and rehabilitating the children. After a few months at the center, they return to their families.
The current project, one of the projects, of Terre des Hommes, is fighting child exploitation and the trafficking of children. We realized that there was an enormous underlying social problem, which is what we today call the trafficking of children, what today is called child exploitation. That depends on the country and the person who takes them. In the Ivory Coast, I can leave a child for cocoa harvesting and earn $100. In Nigeria, they pay more because they're put to work in the market, in the shops. My job consists of recovering the children, of getting them to trust me, finding their families, talking with their parents or guardians, and reintegrating them into their families. We visit the village to find out if the child is being schooled. Then we visit their teacher to see if they have the correct attitude and if they are integrating well. We don't abandon the children, but continue to monitor their progress.
On this occasion, he is visiting the village of Pelagi, an 11-year-old girl who was reintegrated into her village less than a month ago. Before that, she spent 2 months at the Oasis Center. The girl was sold by her parents and sent to Nigeria, where she worked as a domestic servant. She experienced a great deal of humiliation, and when she could stand it no longer, she ran away.
I ran out to the street crying, and somebody took me to the police. I think that because of the language I spoke, they brought me to Benin, to Terre des Hommes, and there I played with other kids. When you brought me to the village, my mother was happy about my return. But for my father, it was very humiliating because everybody said, "How wonderful that you're back," and they were very happy.
The majority of the girls who come to the Oasis Center have been raped and abused. Sinatu as well. On entering the center, the director conducted a short interview with her.
Little Sinatu has no known family. She's 12 years old. We can see that almost all of her rights have been violated. She doesn't know where her father lives or where her mother lives. When children come to Terre des Hommes, they arrive in a truly distressing state. In terms of hygiene, they don't know how to wash themselves. They're dirty, poorly dressed, and even sometimes naked. They have wounds all over their bodies caused by abuse. As for their psychological state, they're afraid, shy, frightened. It depends on just how much abuse they've suffered.
When they arrive, they're silent. They don't want to talk. They're withdrawn, as if they were ashamed. Then it's our responsibility to get involved and help them. To tell them that they have no reason to be ashamed, that it wasn't their fault. It was the fault of the person who abused them. Also, we have a child psychiatrist who helps them to regain their confidence.